Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of the Scottish Silverback Podcast. And Greg and I both swear that this is now us getting back into this consistently. So, there's a wee bit of a hiatus with both of us competing, and obviously Greg carrying on his prep for a wee while longer than mine, a little bit while longer. So, how do you feel now then, a week after everything went down?
Obviously, generally in body, like everyone feels better. So yeah, it's at the time, obviously when I got called, like it was just a bit confusing, the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough when like some of the main people of the show came and spoke to me like after I'd been on for the compulsory round, stuff like that, and they were like, "Mate, this is yours, it's in the bag," and it was like such a huge confidence. Like this is from like AJ, who's like the commentator of like massive. He was a commentator that Arnold's a commentator of massive events, and he was in the audience and the judges stand. It's like, "It's yours." Joe Bollinger came and spoke to me and says like, "Man, I'm pretty sure like this is yours," and I was just like, "Fuck yes, awesome." And then it was literally like, went to go back on for a routine, and they called the other two boys out for comparisons, and I was just like, "This is either amazing or shit. I've came first or third." So I was like, I don't want to ruin my mood. So I just thought, right, I'm first. These guys are battling for second and third. And then obviously it never went that way. So I was just like a bit confused to what the judges were looking for, because I just feel my condition was just miles better than everybody else. Probably the best conditioned person there. I mean, you've seen the photos before I went on stage. I peaked perfectly. I was full, dry, hard. It's like fat free. There's nothing else I could have really done. And, I felt my presentation was just as good as Arnold on stage. Maybe it wasn't, I was just in me, but it is what it is. Like, in the day, it's bodybuilding. You've got to accept what the judges say, and there's nothing you can do about it. Whatever they were looking for, I just didn't give it.
Did you still feel that sense of like that weight lifted after you were done? Or did you feel...
It was obviously when they called out what it was. I mean, I was standing there waiting, and then they called fourth, and I was just like, well, this is either going to be shit or it's going to be great. If they call my name next, then it's not what I thought. And they called my name next, and I was just like, I just felt like a massive
kidney punch.
Not a waste of time, but I felt like it was annoying because I felt I did deserve better. But I mean, that's just my personal opinion, what people said as well. And it was just like, it was a good 20 seconds, 30 seconds stand there, I had a medal around my neck, seen the other two guys get called first, second. I was just like, what else can I do? It is what it is. It wasn't the result I wanted, and I'm sure many people have been in my place before, they've not got the result they feel they deserved, and so on. And you just have to take it. There's nothing else you can do. And as bodybuilding, you're there to be judged by the judges, and whatever they say is what they say. It's the end of the day, that's their call. But then it was just like, took the medal off, walked backstage, was like, I done it. I done the 7 weeks of hell. I got here. I competed. Not results I want, but it's over now. Move on to the next one. I'm ready to enjoy myself in Denmark, and that's like what I've done.
Yeah.
I didn't let my mood for the rest of the day that bother me. I was like, just went and had the best time, enjoyed food, seen the sights. It was lucky it wasn't raining or anything like that, so it was a great day. A great day after that as well. And I've just came home with a full plan in place of what I want to do next. So it's like, I'm sure you know yourself, like when one door closes, another one opens up straight away. It's maybe not being your thought process, but as soon as that door closes, one opens, and you just look down that tunnel of what's next, and you see everything you need to do in that place. And that was literally like what it was. So as much as one goal left, another one came in its place and took over, and that just really put the focus there.
Yeah.
I had to think about the show. That was my focus now, and I'm went from 100% to there to 100% to there. It's not like I'm down in the dumps about it. It's given me areas to improve on. It just wasn't my time.
Yeah.
So now I can go away and be better.
So on that front, where do you see just where you taking things now? Like, what's the plan?
I mean, like, I can look back and be objective with myself, and I do feel like there's a lot of shots I lose out on. One is obviously my front lat spread, just due down to shoulder injuries. I just can't rotate my shoulder up and forward to give myself that wide look. And just with most muscular, as much as I've got an okay most muscular, I just feel I want to work on like other ones like the clasp, and so give myself much bigger shoulders, arms, and I think just like wider lats. As much as I've brought out my back thickness and my detail and just everything there, I just feel like giving myself a much wider back will help me a lot in my front shots.
Mm-hmm.
So just things like that. Just probably be. I mean, you can never be too good at posing. I think just my posing and holding my poses could be a lot better, because I mean, when I'm hitting to about 10 seconds, I really start to fade in my breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hold vacuums, so it's kind of different, but even looking back at videos, I still felt I hold the poses the longest out of the boys I was up on stage with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where that went wrong, but I still feel I can be better in there. Yeah, there's just loads of little areas I want to work on. I mean, like, you can never be too good or too perfect or too whatever. You can always strive to improve on the areas. So that's just what it is. But I mean, I just need to get bigger.
Yeah.
I just feel like if I walk back on looking like a pro,
Mm-hmm.
it just can't be denied in that sense.
Yeah, I think from when we worked together in 2020, like that's what I said to you on the phone after you came off stage, is like, obviously watching the live feed, is that your lat spread needs to, you find a way of kind of thickening out the lat spread and getting that, that shoulder to pop and that shoulder girdle to kind of just thicken out and set. But like you said, it's, you know, you're working on an injury in that, so you know, that's obviously going to be a big factor there. So, oh, someone's died. Is it me or you? Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, I'll keep talking until Greg reappears. So yeah, that's what I found from the shots, and you there? No.
My internet's just went. I've never heard a thing.
That's all right, mate. I didn't say anything. Oh fuck! Right. Are you back?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, cool. Where were we? Front lat spread.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said to you in 2020, was that once you've got that shot nailed, because that's, like, in terms of condition, I agree, like, you're best conditioned, but the guy that won, obviously, like, I think he had you in the lat spread.
Wide.
Yeah.
So fucking wide, man.
So,
like, you can't even fathom how wide he was. Like, you see, when you see him, like, he obviously doesn't have the density or as much muscle, but you see when the shoulder to shoulder, his side chest and stuff, it was just untouchable in that sense, because he was just so fucking wide.
mm-hmm.
And his back, he was walking about, his back was like what the fuck's his name? Who was Mr. Olympia last?
Brandon
Curry. It was literally like looking at his back from the back. It just went.
Aye.
It was nuts. Like a tiny waist, and it was just this wide ass lats.
Yeah, because
so
also
just
we know,
so wide. That's just like what I'm needing to work on, just my actual overall width, my shoulders, and my back. I think it would be a much better look to me.
Because when I was watching Irene's live stream, like, that's what I thought. I was like, fucking, like, I know how wide and how you are, and like, so next to him, I was like, fucking hell, like, he must be about as wide as he is tall. And when you've got a tall, honestly, when a tall guy fills his frame, aye,
I've never met anybody that wide. I've
Yeah.
never seen anybody that wide in my life. It was nuts.
Yeah. That's fucking Dennis Wolf shit.
Yeah. And the guy in second, like, I fucking hate speaking bad about people when I've just competed against them, but I don't feel he deserves second at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys who were obviously 4th, 5th, 6th, blah, 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 like, literally all them came up in a group after we walked off and just said, mate, you got robbed. Like, you deserve so much better than that. Like, you deserve, like, second at least. Mm-hmm. It was a good battle between you and first, but, like, I don't feel he was second, so I don't know what gave him that edge.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was just, like, no legs, no glutes, there was no back thickness. I've seen a couple of shots where he was like, his stomach was just totally pushed out in poses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I fucking hate speaking bad about shows after I've done them, because I feel like a bitter fucker, but, like, it's still how you feel.
Mm-hmm. No, it might as well be honest, eh? So
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I keep saying, it's just something you've got to accept, and that's just what we have to accept as we're going to board shows. Might not go your way. Something could go wrong, or the judges might want something other than what you feel's your best.
So as the class winners on that show, they won that was a pro card.
No, the class winner. Obviously, there's like the novice, beginners, light, medium, heavy, super heavy. So there was like 6 classes or something, 7 classes. So the winner of each class went on to the overall.
Right.
And then there was 3, the top 3 in the overall got a pro card.
Right, okay.
So I think the guy said you got about a 70% chance if you win your class to get your pro card or something.
Right. Nothing that kind of waters it down a wee bit.
Yeah. Obviously he got his pro card in the end. But like when they got all that done, they called out a guy who said this is the winner of the whole show. Like, this is the best bodybuilder of the show.
Yeah.
And the guy that won, I was like, what the fuck?
What?
You called out his name. I was like, I need to check this guy out because he looked okay, but you go to his Instagram, he just looked like shit. I was just like, what made him the winner of the show? Like, I don't get it.
Who were the judges for that show?
Looking up.
Who were the judges from that show?
It was it wasn't an Olympia judge. Jack Sullivan.
Right, okay.
He's one of the Olympia judges, and then it was just a handpick of some 2 pros judges from across Europe.
All right, okay.
Still, like, obviously proper ISPB judges and everything like that. Yeah. But yeah, it was the guy Jack I met the day before at the weigh-in, and he was a bit strange. Like,
what way?
You know yourself, if you're a super heavyweight, like, your weight doesn't matter. Like, you're obviously, once you hit that point, anything over that,
it doesn't matter.
You're super heavy. And it's not like I'm looking, like, you can look at me and say, like, I think he's maybe just going to make the weight cut. It's like, I'm a good fucking 20, 30 pounds over, and I've never been told to strip down. Like, it's usually like, take your jacket off, your shoes off, and step on the scale. But because the boy Steve was weighing me, he was like, do you want to take your kit off? And I was like, no, I'm good. So I just took my shoes off, my jacket off, and hopped on. And the boy Jack was like, no. You get down to your boxers. I was like, I'm not wearing any. he was like, well, just down your shorts then. I was like, you being serious? I've never been asked to take my kit off. And like, after I said that, I was like, I should have said that. And he was just like, yes, I'm serious. I was like, all right, okay. So I took it all off, stood in the scales, and he was like, right, okay, cool. And then I turned around the way to step off, and he was like, no, stop. I was like, what? He was like, I need you to give me a front double.
What?
I was standing on the scales. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was just like, is he taking the piss? He was like really trying to annoy me. So he was like, come on. And I was like, all right, okay. So I gave a front double on the scales, and he started to fucking critique my physique. I was like, what is he doing? Is this like a mind game or something like that? And then I stepped off.
Starting early.
And then he was just like, you actually look really good. I was like, oh, cheers, mate. And I shook his hand and walked off. I was like, that was a weird experience. I've never had that. So that was a bit of a weird start to the show.
It's not uncommon for weirdos to be fucking hanging about and have top positions in federations, is it? So.
No, mate. But you know what? Like, that put such a bitter taste in my mouth about two bros a bit.
How?
Just how it was run. A lot of things. Then, like, there's been so much shit talk about what happened at the weekend with, like, handing out pro cards to naturals. Like, they're going to be slaughtered alive. Like, why the fuck? That should not have been happening. That's so wrong.
Just let the natural feds do the natural fed stuff and let the fucking untested do the untested. Don't try and do both. I do understand. It's about fucking money, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. But like, even AJ Morris like mailed me. And he's like, that is so fucking stupid. Like, they'll be slaughtered as soon as they step on a pro stage if they're not going to be enhanced. And I was like, 100%.
Also,
they were doing jack shit with that pro card.
Did Giorgio won the overall? of that, did he not?
I have no idea. I literally couldn't even watch it.
Giorgio is not fucking natural.
Mm.
He's not fucking natural. Like, I competed against him in the NABA British. He's not fucking natural. Like, maybe he's been off gear for the past 2 years, but it's a 7-year rule in natural feds. He's still fucking gigantic.
I have no idea what the fuck is going on there.
Oh, mate, they were not testing. They were not fucking testing. It was just a pure way to get people in the door. That's all that was.
Just like, give my fucking pro card. And it's like, I don't want my pro card that way. Like, what is that going to give you?
Nah.
There's like guys winning it, and like you've seen them like obviously tagged in their photos with their coach, and you're looking at them like, you are going to be killed if you step on a pro stage.
I understand that I understand if you want to go pro through natural feds like BMBF or UT.
Because then they're up against like
natties.
People like natties that are actually in the same league and like the same stature, not walking into the fucking lion's den. They're just
it's fucking. This is so stupid.
If naturals are saying like that's a stupid idea, then obviously it must be a stupid idea.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, like just let the natties be the natties and the fucking untested freaks be the untested freaks and that. That
put the end to my thoughts on like competing with them again. I think I'll be going abroad to do any more shows. I'll be looking like what like the Spain shows and that are. They just look so much better class.
That's NPC worldwide, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'll probably just be aiming for some shows like that, or do like the Hungary shows where you could do like a regional and a pro qualify in one day. Yeah. So something like that would be a better idea, I think, for the next show.
I mean, that's obviously I'm doing the Arnold USA, and that's like it says in the rules like no qualification needed. I'm like, thank fuck. Like, I know what you mean, mate. Like, I thought the Arnold UK was run really well.
It was like that's honestly the best show I've ever done, hands down. Yeah.
And then I had a great time at Bodies by O. Obviously, I wanted a bit more competition, but you can't. You know, that's not the federation's fault. But yeah, it was wee things like that. Like obviously, I got tanned by Pro Tan at the Arnold, and it was like something like it was like £90 for the Arnold, but only 50 for the regional. It's the same fucking tan, and it was literally the same tanner.
That's about money. They promote like the IFBB. It's
fucking doing
that is obviously I used LSR for the graftism and the Arnold, and that tan sits amazing on me. Like I know that tan sits really well on me, and then the glaze sits on top of that tan. But obviously they weren't at the Amateur Olympia, which I was annoyed. I bought the mousse to do a base coat, but Protan did not email me back. They wouldn't respond to me. They wouldn't tell me like what was happening with tans. Literally 3 days out, they sent an email to absolutely every single competitor that was being tanned by them, and they forwarded it to every single competitor. So when you replied, it went to everybody. So your phone is going absolutely ballistic with 500 competitors mailing. You're getting the notifications and stuff.
And he's gone again. Yeah, I think I'm just going to keep talking while Greg finds a way of coming back to 21st century. So yeah, what I'm going to do is in 2019 I done my own tan. That was a base, for those who are interested, I've done a base layer of that. That was a salon tan. So like just what birds get really for a night out, but it was like the darkest one I could get. So basically get the darkest one I could get, and then I put Dream Tan on top of it. So get your mate or whatever. I'm just explaining what I did tan wise. So then get your mate to kind of put on the Dream Tan with a roller and fucking put it all on. So I think for the Arnold, I'm doing my own tan. I'm putting everything in my hands. So I'll be doing. It's quite funny because Reagan was like, "Oh, there's this pro bikini bird that like does her own tan and stuff." So I started following her, and like it's fucking mind numbing, like the chat, like her fucking voice as well. But she goes step by step of how to do get a perfect tan with Pro Tan. So I'm gonna do it, and she's like, she said that the mousse that they apply on mousse is actually way better than the spray for some people, because the spray sometimes just sits in people's skin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm taking everything in my own hands for the Arnold, definitely.
Well, LSR has always done two coats of me, and it's just sat absolutely perfect. And they give me a glaze to roll it on, and it never sucks into my skin. But like I said, with the Protan, they mailed everybody at 3 days out, so everybody was in a rush on the email, like trying to say, yes, I'll come in this time, I'll do this time. And your phone's going mental, all these people. But eventually they said they would do 2 coats. I was like, oh, well, I don't need to do the mousse. So I went in on just after registration on the Saturday, got a coat, and I left there. Like, it didn't actually look that enhanced, but it was more of like an orangey red.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the fucking coat they use next day better be better. So when I went in, I'm not joking, this bird laid it on, and I'm looking down, I'm like, wow, I am dark. But because it wasn't light, it would just look black, but it was like a red. And I was like, I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, go stand in the tent and dry. So, you know, like usually you get the fan in the tent and it takes about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for half an hour and it wouldn't dry.
Fuck's
I was
sake.
literally there. There was a clock and I watched the clock. I went in, the time did I go in? I went at 7 and I got out at 7:30 and it still wasn't dry. My inside of my elbows were like sticky as anything. Underneath my armpits, my rib cage was still super sticky, and I'm like, this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
And it took about 45 minutes for it to kind of almost dry.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was standing, I was like, my colour's not too bad. It was probably the darker, but then I went and got glazed and I was fucking dripping off, man. I'm like, oh my God, they've ruined it.
The glaze or the tan?
Glaze that
Right.
absolutely just laid this stuff on. I was like, it was shining like a fucking disco ball. And then by the time I got to the stage, it was gone.
Uh-huh.
The
Was
skin
it
just sucked it in.
the spray stuff that you use?
This was their own stuff. So
Aye,
they had like a scoosher and they were rolling it on.
Aye, yeah.
And then I was just like, what the hell happened to it? Because remember the glaze I used at Arnold's, it was just sat on my skin perfectly. It didn't go anywhere. It was sat on top of like the actual tan. So
And that was LSR's glaze. That was LSR's own glaze.
Yeah. It's just so much better. I just honestly don't want to use Protan ever again, but I was kind of just stuck there.
Yeah.
So it was really annoying.
Yeah, I mean it's horrible to obviously because I had the same issue at the Arnold UK, like as you know, like fucking I didn't even know my glaze had all been soaked in. Yeah. It wasn't until Patrick was like, "Where's your fucking glaze?" I'm like, "Do I not have any on?" Like,
yeah, I didn't know either because I thought this is dripping off me. This must be like just dry off a little bit. I never thought of it like walking into the stage. I thought it must still be there, but folks said on my photos it was gone.
Aye.
They thought I looked smooth and washed up, but then when you see the sharp HD photos, you can see all my detail, but it's just not glazed. And I was just like, oh, that's fucked off.
I felt it was just like a mist that they applied, like a fucking, like a wee kind of, you know what I mean? Rather than like putting like, the LSR, like you put it on the glove and then you fucking actually rub it on.
LSR is such a big fan. The colour's like a really nice brown bronze, whereas this stuff was like a red. It worked for me. Yeah,
I mean it's a shame when it comes to competing and you know put on this diet and effort. It's a lot. See when shit like that fucks up your placing or whatever, or your look
really ruined my mood for the day. Yeah,
because you put
that was honestly probably the worst show I've ever been to, just in terms of like where it was, how they ran it, how they treated you, and obviously the outcome. I was like, that's probably like my least favorite show I've ever done. So it was a bit annoying. But yeah, like the Arnold was perfect for me. That was like a great show. Well ran, awesome stage. Everybody was like, all the staff were great.
Yeah.
So
that was definitely a highlight of my career as well. That definitely stage. So
I mean, like when I walked away from that show, like I sat like it was just totally not the result I wanted. But then I can look back at the year. I mean, I've had a good year for this second at my qualifier, which is obviously not what I wanted either, but it was all I needed at that time. Then it put me to the Arnold, which obviously I won, and that's like probably the highlight of my bodybuilding career so far. So I need to look back on that. I mean, that's like such a prestigious win.
Yeah,
can't have that taken away from us. As like as much as that show didn't go to plan, or the end of the year didn't go to plan, like a part of the year really did go to plan, and I can look back at that and say that was great for my career.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's how I kind of hoped you would take it. I hoped you'd be like, you know, fuck it, whatever, and then just focus on the fact that you won. Obviously, we won our pro cards, but just focus on the fact that you actually won the Arnold and, you know, you came away with that title. So,
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, like, you still have to look at, like, I've only done my first bodybuilding show in 2019, and then I'm only 2021 now, so it's like 2 years. And you can look at someone like Hader. I think it was like 15 attempts he took to win his pro card.
yeah,
Like, fuck, I've done what, 3?
yeah,
It's like I've been very, very close every time. And it's like, fucking, I've just really not paid my dues yet. And I can walk away with like that, being with, like, a smile on my face, like, I've just not paid my dues. As much as people think I'm good enough, or I think I'm good enough to win a pro card, I'm just not there. I'm just not ready, and that's fine. I'm happy. I'm okay to say that and walk away with that, because I will be next time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm excited for the process of that. It's like, if you walk away bitter, you should walk away with like the positives and negatives, but look at the positives, like, how much better can I be when I do win it?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We just love the process of bodybuilding. It's not like we're focused on just winning the pro card. That's all it wants. Like, I love training. Being on stage is like a byproduct of that. So like, I get to go away and just absolutely smash myself and eat and grow and watch this transformation happen again, which is more exciting than being on stage.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's exact same. I love the process. I love standing on stage. I love fucking everything. It's all part of it. But I want to move on and I've been watching a few kind of social media things, and a question that kind of what I put to you is, do you think the open bodybuilding, i.e. what we do, is dying, or do you think that it's going to continue to grow?
I don't see it dying. I think there'll be a shift. I think over the last year, like, you look at the Regans and Samsons, where the aesthetic look, and like even Rafa the other week, I think that's changing. It's not there at the Olympia stage yet, but I feel that these shows, what they're presenting, is a truly amazing package. That is like, that's why they're winning these shows. Like, I really do feel Rami's going to be taken down, because even this year he wasn't presented with. I didn't think it was as good as the year before. I think he won it purely out, it was that close, and because he was still Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
But even like looking at Hadi, like what he comes in condition, like he's still got the small waist, the muscle maturity, the hard Canadian look. But I mean, if you get like Regan and Samson to nail stuff like that, their shape is just sensational.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the changeover soon.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Because basically I was watching Nick, I've been watching a lot of Nick Trigilli. I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says, but he was saying like he thinks that open bodybuilding is dying, and like the shift is going to be more towards classic. And I do agree that there is a big shift towards classic. I prepped more classic bodybuilders this year than open.
But it's the same as like a few years ago with the physique. It's just so attainable, and that's appealing. That's like where people, they love going to the gym, and they look at like these stages and they're like, fuck, I look like that. I can go on stage and be that. And it was just such a massive boost for that category. But now people are seeing like these beautiful classic physiques guys. It's like, that's not that far away from where I am. I can attain that in a year. And that's where they're going with that. Like, where the super heavyweights in the open class, like that's almost like a 10 years of a grind to get to that size for some people. And it's like, people are like, fuck, I don't have that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why people are getting that class is so popular. But I still feel there's enough in the open, and people still love bodybuilding.
Yeah. I agree. It'll always be, bodybuilding will always be the number one. And like I really appreciate classic. If it was around when I started in 2012, I might have done it. But you know, my mentality is I want to push for the biggest and hardest class, and that's super heavies. And
I want to be the biggest fucker walking about.
Yeah, same.
Well, like, it's a great feeling. Like, you're walking at the gym and like, you're like, fuck, I feel big. It's a nice feeling, but it's like, I want to be that open class. I want to be the freak. I want to look nuts on stage. Because everybody, like, nobody can tell me they stand and wait for class to come on. even in the bodybuilding scene, you're looking at the lights, you're looking at the heavies, you're like, here we fucking go. It's the big boys. Everybody wants to see the big guys walk on stage.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Because like it was the argument's like, oh well, like the guys in classic, like I know if I was a classic competitor, just say I'd done 3 years on the trot and I was at my weight limit, I'd be like, fucking hell, this is boring. Like, this is boring just trying to get a tiny bit tighter each year. And
I really feel that's where Chris is.
Yeah, well, the difference with Chris, with Bumstead is obviously he's got millions of dollars behind him in terms of contracts and stuff. So he doesn't, in terms of a career, he doesn't need to push up to open. But in terms of 99.9% of the rest of the classic, surely they get to a point where they just go, you know what, fuck it, I'm pushing up because I'm bored sitting here. I'm bored just making weight every single year. And not, like you see it in 212 as well. It's not just classic. See 212 guys go like, I want to push up because I'm sick and tired of not training for 6 months because I'm scared to get too big. And then fucking,
that's like the point I was away to make now. Like, what do you think of the recent events of like all the 212 guys doing the open and fucking winning?
Yeah.
Like the one guy won Spain the weekend, that's 212. Sean, like obviously Sean Cleara's never going to hit his max cap. So he's fucking, like, how he won 187 pounds over guys that are standing stage at 260. It just shows you like what the judges will look for, that complete package, regardless of like how dwarfed you are.
Yeah, 100%. And so yeah, that's the question I want to put to you, because I don't believe it's dying at all. I think, you know, everyone's like look at like F1, right? F1's the pinnacle of driving, right? But I'm sure F2 and F3 have, I know nothing about fucking driving, but like F1 and F2 and F3, I guarantee you they have like hardcore supporters as well. But the F1, F2 and F3 drivers still want to move up to F1 eventually, or try to. You know, it's I know it's not quite the fucking same, but you know what I'm trying to say. Classic is amazing, and I love watching it, because see, when it was just 212 open and men's physique, sitting through men's physique is fucking painful. So it's good to have another class that keeps you interested. And I fucking love it. But at the same time, I don't agree that it's going to take out open. It's going to present more guys into open, I'd say. It's going to be a drawing factor into open.
End of the day, the guys in the open get paid the most because they bring the most in.
Yeah.
If you go away that open classic, I'll guarantee you'd lose over 50% of the people actually coming to the event, because
you're
there to see them. As much I do feel that obviously 212 and classic do deserve a bit more money. It's the money in open is there because of that's what brings the crowd. And like, I can understand why the guys in 212 are coming up to do that. They're winning bigger fucking paychecks end of the day. Like when you're like winning 12 grand winning a 212 show, and you can win like 60 grand winning like a pro show, like fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Big jump.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Arnold's Uruguay dudes, actually bigger payouts now. The winner of the Open was 130 grand Nick got. This year they're getting 200 grand.
Really? The first is getting 200 grand?
Fucking 200 grand to win the Arnold now, and there was Nick got 130 for winning it.
That's class.
So that's a big jump. Second place is getting 130 grand now.
For bodybuilding, that's fucking mental. That's mental money.
Yeah, that's just a winner show. So it's like, I remember I was watching Dennis James's podcast, and he was speaking to Regan Grimes, and he was like, you should do the Arnold, and he was winking, and he was like, nah, I'm taking off season. He's like, you should do the Arnold. He was like, what do you mean? He's like, they're pumping up the prize money.
Yeah.
And he was like, what is it, 100 grand? He was like, you can fucking double that if you win. And he's like, really? So it's like, even there, he was like, nah, I'm just going to do the Olympia. But when you throw that kind of prize money in the mix, like, fucking people are going to want to do it. So I think bodybuilding's getting excited. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to add 70 grand onto the prize fund if they think that bodybuilding's going anywhere. But, you know, it always, another kind of topic that was brought up as well was like, you just touched on it there. Like, I get guys want to constantly improve, but like, if I was, obviously Regan Grimes got everything going for him. He's got a great career, he's got a great physique, he's got great things outside of bodybuilding as well. But this, if this is like your drive and your passion, I don't understand why these guys don't do way more. Don't get it wrong, Regan has, and but I'm talking about kind of other guys like doing 1-2 shows a year. You know, I don't know. I don't see the point. Like, we only done 1 or 2 because that's all we have left to do.
Yeah.
You know, we can't do PCA, we can't fucking do NABA. We have to do a regional and then a fucking pro qualifier, and that limits us.
There was money thrown at me in the mix. Like, I had the possibility of like winning 40, 50K or whatever in a show. Fucking right, I'm going to do 3-4 in a row.
Fucking right.
Like a little small snippet of 4th place at like 3-4 grand. Like, do that 3-4 times. Fuck me.
Exactly. Like, I would, if I was Regan, I would be doing Arnold, and then maybe 1 or 2 after that, take a break, and then you're not going to get fat. Like, go back on, like, you know what I mean? And it's I think the whole over dieting, and don't get me wrong, like, I've been to that position at the universe 2 years ago where my body was absolutely fucking ruined, but then I didn't listen to the advice that Nick was giving me to keep my food high, and that definitely played a big factor there. But you can get tired, and you can over diet, and you can do too many shows. But you know, when you're in that position, you've got that knowledge around you as well, and you got all the fucking top coaches around you. You know, I always want to strive to kind of compete as much as possible. I mean, like, I don't care if competing isn't like the most efficient way of getting known in the industry. I fucking love competing, and like, you bet you fucking arse it. If I'm a pro card, like, I'm doing 3 or 4 shows a year.
Yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt. So,
that's like what Ian says. He's like, this is a business, this is a job. Yeah. As much as like you want to win the shows and stuff like that, you want to make a statement. It's like, end of the day, if you're picking up a 2nd or 3rd, still getting paid, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to win the bigger branded shows like the Olympias, the Arnolds, but I mean, if you're doing like Texas shows or New York or whatever, still picking up money, big money.
Yeah, and it's like,
it's a business, it's your job.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Chigilli was like, "Oh, but in this day and age, you can sit back and be a YouTube influencer and never diet or do a contest prep." I was like, "I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
I don't want to sit back and be a fucking influencer. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Like, I want to be established and known for my exploits on stage, not how well I can edit a fucking video or who I'm training with this day or whatever. I know I'm trying to push social media a lot more, but that's like obviously to fund my bodybuilding. You know, if social media didn't exist, I'd still fucking be, you know, doing all this shit. So
social media stop tomorrow. I'll still be turning at the gym training just as hard.
I know. It'd be no fucking different at all.
Yeah, sure. My life would just be exactly the same. It wouldn't change my income. Yeah, wouldn't do anything different. So it's not what I want to do or who I want to be.
I mean, I don't want to fucking talk to you on a fucking Tuesday night, like doing these podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I still want to be a bodybuilder. It's still like my passion, what I want to do. So it's not change anything for us. But I can understand like what he means. There is a plenty of people who make a fucking fortune of not being anybody and still making great content.
Don't get it wrong. Like, if I was getting fucking X amount of cash to make YouTube videos, I'd be fucking delighted. Because YouTube's a hard game. And but at the same time, I know the overriding passion would still be competing. So, you know, if I know for a fact that if just say for like 4 weeks, I'll be like, right, I'm not filming anything. I don't want a camera in my face. I'll just focus on the show. Maybe I'll take a hit in terms of my YouTube income, but that the competing means more to me. Money's going to come and go, but the opportunities to compete aren't. So.
Yeah, because I mean, like, go back to the point we just made about people not wanting to compete so many times a year, and like they're feeling like, oh, burnout, and this is like my main show I want to focus on. It's like, look back in the 90s, man. Those guys were doing like 9 fucking 10 shows a year. They're going like 1 week to another, flying to a different country. They're like flying across the world to compete every weekend. And it's like, if those guys can do it, these guys can.
They were competing in fucking like France on the Saturday and then fucking flying to Austria on the Sunday to compete there and like, right?
Dennis James says he was in Hungary and he flew to Australia to compete like 3 days later.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be done.
Yeah,
Like,
it can be done.
It's like, if there's money involved, I mean, at the end of the day, if I get to that position where there's like, say, 4 shows within an 8-week period, you fucking better believe I'm going to be doing that if I get like enough funding for it.
100%.
Yeah, it's money. It's an opportunity to get your name out there on the roster and everything. Like money possibly in your pocket.
Yeah, and I know Milos made a good point. He was like, some of the best improvements he makes is in that post-show window.
Yeah.
And like, I have to agree, like
if you rebound well or like do everything well, you're gonna look better.
Yeah, I mean,
opportunity.
That those 4 weeks, even now, like I'm on a mill of tests just now, and I'm still growing and getting stronger every week. I can see it in my photos. I can see and feel that I'm getting bigger. Like, you know, I'm sitting at 261, you know, still really lean. So I've got lines in my glutes and stuff. And that was from that post-show window, staying tight, staying disciplined, and utilizing that efficiently. And if you're competing more often, that to me is like you're getting those windows twice a year. You know, if you do like stints at the start and stints at the end. But yeah, this has been like this past, obviously, I've harped on about it a bit too much, but like this post-show from the Arnold UK, like it's been so fucking productive. Like I've made some of the biggest changes ever to my physique in just this short 8-9 weeks post-show. So that's the way I see it as well. I see these shows as opportunities to grow in that window that you get 4 to 6 to 8 weeks after the show.
I go totally against the grain of what normal people do, and you know that. Like I will eat a ton of food because I've done it before. I know that even if like my metabolism's like whatever I was like coming into peak week, I know as soon as I throw food at it, it just goes like this, and it catches where I am. So whenever I set a base, I know if I go there where I'm like a massive gap, I know within like 1 to 2 weeks, it's going to be there and I'll level out. So like any like extra fullness fluid drops off. I've done that for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
If you go slow increment, I'll just go from here to here and my body will catch it. And I know like where I'm like, that's me probably like 268, I think I was this morning. So that's almost like what? 16 pounds in a week. And like my legs are full of veins, my arms are veins, my shoulders, chest is still striated. I'm just incredibly full. But like obviously for 3-4 days post-show, all my leg veins were gone. They were like water. I was feeling really bloated, but then like it's just gone. My weight has stayed the same, but I've got it like leaner and leaner and leaner. So my body's just like leveled out. That's just like what I do. I know it works.
Yeah.
I'm hungry for meals. My metabolism's like caught up to where I am. So now from here, I can just start building it up again once like I feel I'm in like a nice steady holding pattern.
Yeah. I was going to ask you when you said to me like your metabolism's higher. Do you get, I think I mentioned this before, do you get like fucking huge water dumps during the night when you're sleeping?
Mate, like no matter where, even if I'm like depleted to fuck, I will piss about 4 times in a night.
Right. No, I don't mean that. I mean like sweating. I mean like
I'm always hot. Like my body's just a total furnace. Like I'm sweating sitting here right now. Like as soon as I have a meal, I'll just sweat. And it's like always like regardless of where I am in like prep or I don't know why. My body's just like efficient in that way.
I get this thing, right, I don't know if it's like my metabolism fucking like quote unquote turning back on, but I get this thing where like during the middle of the night, it's as if I've pissed the bed, like with sweat. Like having to get up, change tops, change towels, change bed sheets, put a towel down before I go back to sleep. Like I've never understood what that is. I've always just kind of assumed that's my metabolism just like going like that and like turning back on.
Right now, like if I'm on a lot of food, like I'm hot all the time, regardless if the room's cold, I'm sweating. And like you see, if I have like say a meal off plan, like a pizza or a burger or something like that, so when I go to bed, oh my god, like I'm sweating like uncontrollably.
Oh, it's so fucking
like, my body just turns into like an absolute furnace to get rid of that fucking thing out of me.
Yeah,
that's wild.
That's what puts me off eating shite now, It's I fucking hate that feel. I hate sitting there going like, oh fuck. You know
I've got like a massive fan at the bottom of the bed. Like I actually sleep with that in the winter. Like I'm sleeping with that right now. The room's freezing, but I'm sitting with this fan with the sheets off me, just like lying there starfish trying to get this fucking air on me. It's like he's I'm like, fucking I'm dying. Sweating.
Guy Cicinino put up this thing and it goes underneath your mattress and it's basically like a fridge.
Oh yeah.
Oh mate, I want that so bad, but Reagan fucking doesn't.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm always warm. Just, I don't know if that's my body just like being so efficient and burning off the fucking food, but I'm just always warm.
Yeah, it's fucking obviously the heat that gives off, but I don't understand why women are fucking cold all the time. I don't get it. Like,
they just don't eat enough food. You eat more food, get burned off.
Like fucking, was it Reagan was saying she was either in Dubai or another hot country, and she went down to the reception and was like, "Can I get a heater?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "Oh mate, like I don't get it." Fucking women.
I went to get a massage yesterday, a deep tissue on the knots in my back, and do you ever like see if you're like in a massage and like it starts to hurt? Do you ever start to sweat like
yeah.
With the pain? I don't know what it is, but like I could feel like the sweat running down the crack in my back. But when I stood up, my shorts were fucking. I looked like I pissed myself. The sweat had like run to the front of my legs, and they were just drenched. I was like, oh my god! It was just because there's so much pain. The sweat just runs off me.
Yeah.
But it was just wild. Like it was just so much pain. Obviously, the sweat was just pouring.
Yeah, I hate when you get off the bed and Ricky's like that with a fucking towel, just fucking matted down, spraying and shit. I'm like, oh fuck.
Sorry.
Sorry, man, just fucking pissed out my back.
Yeah. I remember I used to get scraping work done on my back. I used to sit in a chair with my chest on like a pad, so I was like leaning forward, and I'd get my back scraped, and like I could just, my hair was soaking, just sweat running down like the back of my head and my back, so much pain. I was just like, fucking hell. It's like uncontrollably and uncomfy as anything.
It's when you're in social settings and shit. And you're sitting at a fucking restaurant and like someone goes, "Oh, you sweating?" I'm like, "Yeah," and now I'm sweating twice as much because you fucking pointed it out. Yeah, like we'll see when I was going to the Arnold in 2017. I might have told you the story before, but I was so basically I landed in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia had a mad heat wave for February for some reason, right? It was in the 20s, and but the aircon in the airport is only designed to come on at certain times of the year. So they can't manually switch it on. It has to be done. It's done on a timer. So obviously it didn't kick in until like April or whatever, because usually Philadelphia is quite cold. And so I get into this airport. It's a fucking sauna. I'm already walking about at 290 pounds, and so yeah, pissed through a sweat. It's all down. It's starting to run down the front of my legs as well. And I go through security. Fucking beeper goes off, and the guy starts patting me down, and he goes, "Woo, you're sweating." I'm like, fucking cunt. And then he takes off his gloves and puts another pair on, like as if like I've fucking contaminated the gloves as he was patting me down. I was like, "Mate, you've just made me sweat 10 times more. You fucking wank." Yes. But like the thing is though, like as of, I don't know, last off season I did sweat a lot, but it wasn't as much as it was previously. And like right now I'm all right. I haven't even got the fan on, but I don't know what that is. But
you see my face is like a fucking beetroot right now because I'm so warm.
Look at me,
I've got a fan here, but it's like unplugged, so I need to get on. But no, like, yeah, I think it's just normal for bigger guys to be sweating like that. It's just like you see all the time. Any bodybuilder just, I know, sweats like nothing on earth. Yeah,
it's when you get the grey trackies and that fucking perfect line down the ass crack. You're like, oof, that's attractive, that. Lovely.
You know what I thought was really funny? If you've watched the Bodybuilding podcast, and Brett was speaking about when they were in Dallas, what he said something like, "Did you smell that guy in the gym?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I smell a trend." And he's like, "How can you smell somebody on trend?" He's like, "Oh, they've just got the smell." And I was thinking, what the fuck does trend smell like? Because you do know when you're on trend, you sweat like mad. And he was like, "It's like an ammonia smell." And I was like, "I have that all the time. That must be what it is. I never noticed that." He's like, "If you pass somebody in the gym and smell it, they're on trend."
Yeah. I don't get it with trend. I get it with MPP. I definitely have a smell in MPP. Because I've been like, I've gone to mates, it's like, smell that, and they're like, I can't smell anything. I was like, when I smell MPP, to me it stinks, and I can smell it when I sweat as well. I'm like, it's an odd like plastic kind of smell. It's really weird. I don't know if it's just me, but I've noticed. I've not noticed that with trend though, but I have noticed though when I've done like obviously severe diets in the past, like fucking ludicrously low carbs, and once your body gets to that point, obviously it starts churning into your protein, starts churning into muscle tissue, and then it's breaking down protein to form like glycogen. I think that process in itself, that produces an ammonia smell, because all my gym kit from certain preps I had to bin at the end of a prep because it absolutely stunk of ammonia. And I think like ammonia is like a byproduct of breaking down muscle tissue, and I was fucking reeking. Like, but I've never had that since because I've dieted a lot with a lot more, a lot smarter.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a bit older, but yeah, when I was younger, fucking disgusting ammonia smells would come off me because I was doing like zero carbs for like 2 weeks.
It's just so potent, but I'd rather that than BO, but it's still so potent.
Yeah, true. Yeah, to be fair.
It's fucking awful.
Yeah, so.
How are you feeling about your prep so far?
Good, mate. Weight's not moved, but my condition definitely has. So just getting like drier and harder, but staying full. So obviously just still going through a wee bit of a recomp phase. So my food's still higher than it was at the end of the last off season. So obviously I'm pretty happy with that. Like it's
how much have you changed your training?
How have I changed my training?
How much have you changed your training from like stuff you were doing before? Obviously you've written this one out yourself.
Yeah, so I've taken the stuff that I learned with Patrick and just kind of just tweaked it ever so slightly. Nothing too drastically, because there's certain things like we've done an SST session, and some of the stuff in that was like 10 sets of 5, 10 sets of 3.
Yeah,
I've got that in amongst the kind of moderate volume stuff that Patrick had me doing. So I'm kind of doing that just now. So
yeah, and
that seems working really well. But obviously the calories that you're burning in those sessions are sky high.
Yeah.
That's driving the condition changes for now. And Nick basically says what I said, like just keep rinsing it until we have to make a change.
Yeah, on yourself out in that, but as long as it's working in the moment, then 100%.
I feel good, mate. The joints feel good. I'm getting stronger every week. Hip there's no pain at all. There's nothing. So I'm pretty fucking happy with that. But yeah, I can't believe it's 13 weeks on Friday. That's fucking flown already. So, and then I go to Dubai for 2 weeks. That's going to clear out 2 weeks of the prep. And then, we're in the new year and, it'll be time to compete before I know it. So
I'm actually in shock at how well my body has transitioned into this phase. Like, obviously, like after a show, you want to give your body time to recover.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I took like 3-4 days off, and I just felt amazing. I was like, I'm gonna go in for a little pump session. And I just did like an upper body pump session, and it just felt like absolute piss easy. Joints felt really good. The pump was crazy. I left. I was like, I could probably go a little bit more. Next day, I did chest and arms, I think, and like did like heavier weight. Felt totally fine. Wasn't sore. I thought this is fucking weird. Went in the next day, did back. Did probably about 80%. Next day wasn't sore. I was like, why does it feel so good that I'm not sore? I'm like managing pretty decent weight. So I took like a day off, and then I thought I'll go in for legs. And I did about 90% of what my normal leg session was, with like probably 90% of the weight I would usually use in those sets. And my legs were a little bit sore the next day, but nothing drastic. This is fucking not normal for like a recovery in like the week after a show. So I thought I'll go in today and do back and do like a full session. And obviously we just got all the new kit in, so I kind of used every single back piece. But the session felt amazing. I tried to push as much weight as possible, and I pulled 260 for 8 quite comfortably. I stopped at 8. I could have done 9, but I thought I'll be enough for today.
Yeah,
everything just felt like really good, and I was like, my back's probably gonna be sore tomorrow after that, but like how well my body's like recovering straight after a show is like, I'm actually quite shocked.
Yeah. I mean, like you were towards the end. I know you were on a prep for a long time, but you were like kind of like feeding the body, depleting it like consistently. So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Might have something to do with it. But
I'm only saying it's just because I felt like really fucked by like peak week, and like my joints just felt absolutely fried. They were like clicking, grinding. Like now they feel like they've got a lot of fluid air. My shoulders don't hurt as much. Everything just seems to connect really well. My knees feel good. It's fucking, I just feel strange.
Yeah.
So I was going to be running like a good, like one set exercise thing for like a good 2-3 weeks, but like it literally felt like I was doing jack shit and my body was feeling fine.
Yeah. I mean, anything
with it and put the food in.
Anything even 1% better than how you feel in those last stages of prep is going to feel like you're fucking on cloud nine.
Like using all the kit today, like the connection, all the new kit is just amazing. Like just
looks good.
Everything.
Yeah, no, it looks class.
Really good.
I think we're approaching an hour now, mate. So we'll wrap up there.
Yeah, cool.
So, like I said, guys, we're going to get obviously the guests and stuff back on. We're still kind of pondering as to who to ask, but we're going to try and get a kind of move outside the super heavyweight realm and see if we can speak to some other people. Yeah, just get some different people on. But yeah, we'll keep these more consistent going forward now that we're both in a good kind of place for now. So yeah, remember to subscribe, guys. Like the fucking video and do all that fucking social media shite. And yeah, until next time. Cheers, guys.
Guys, thank you.